My name is Joseph Wunderlich, and I'm Professor of Engineering, Architecture, and Computer Science. And this is a summary of an exercise in a class where we've read 3 papers, and then the students have met with me and we've discussed it, and the summary of that discussion is attached after each of the 3 articles. The first article is called Moving Closer to Reality with Augmented Reality. And there's a number of examples here. So if you're in my class and this is an assignment, please do read the entire paper, not just the summary. And we'll have, potentially, depending on which year we're doing this, have a follow-up discussion. And here is the summary from a previous year. So that particular paper showed that you could have increased productivity in the workforce. However, the system itself lacks deep knowledge of the real experts. You can prepare people for disasters. However, the simulation could sometimes represent an incomplete scenario. You can create hope for people when they live in or use this technology, or you could create false hope if you implement some actual footage in the some reality in the simulation. Depending how graphic or shocking it is, you could condition first responders to not panic in an actual situation, or even doctors dealing with death or blood for the first time, or some of the horror medical profession might see. You could actually make reality more shocking at the moment for them if you're not careful. That's negative if you put reality in the simulation. Yet you could evoke other emotions that are not desirable: rage, depression. Be careful of how far you go with some of the graphic imagery and the context of it. This technology could be used to subliminally deliver a message. So you could overcome fears or addictions, similar to how hypnosis works, and recovery type methodologies. You also could use it for evil, to mentally program someone to commit some kind of deviant behavior, maybe even subliminally. You can create empathy. People actually learn to care more about victims, maybe through the simulation. Or you could desensitize people to the horror, where after a while they just don't care, they've seen too much. With any simulation, the physics implemented might not be realistic. That's a problem. If you have just a simulation with no real physics, it's essentially just a cartoon. Make it do anything. A positive could be this technology could be used for therapy for mental health, like post-traumatic stress disorder, or if you're not careful, it could magnify the memories of it. A negative could result in physical decay from people who should be practicing real physical first responses to disaster. So firefighters, people actually forest fighters, people who fight forest fires, real firemen, police, paramedics, rescuing people out of ravines and things. If they're just doing everything in simulation, they could physically deteriorate, whereas perhaps other kinds of real-world training would be better. And lastly, you could accidentally prompt people to behave badly, similar to above the subliminal thing about people doing deviant behavior. But this last one, you could do that, possibly do it even on a mass scale. People were doing all this in some kind of large online gaming thing. Could promote revolution or anarchy or riots, or we'll leave that up to your imagination. So in the second article, we're looking at augmented reality for work. And here's a summary. not just for work things, but students mentioned that you could use this for looking through houses from far away, touring colleges. However, people might commit crimes or infringe on privacy. It also might interfere with real hands-on skills. However, you can overlay schematics on broken equipment. You can potentially allow unskilled workers to do skill work. You can network people solving a problem all through the eyes of one person on the task. Maybe the task is in a hazardous place, and so you only want one person there. However, that can be a problem if the person's already skilled and doesn't need a lot of people talking in his ear and overlays on his eyes when he can do it in real time with his own skills in his own hands and whatever technology he chooses, he or she. The second article is about a gaming system by this individual. Read about him. Read more, and there's also some cost breakdowns here of ways you can make money with this, and gaming attractions, social media, and other entertainment, other things. Do read about the architecture of it and how it's distributed and works, and think about that, the hardware and software architecture. Read the whole article. And here's a summary. It's open source. You can program to it. Everybody has a virtual space of their own. You can own a little bit. It can be scaled nicely because the servers are distributed. Highly socially networked virtual reality. You can start real business, make real money. Realistic physics in there. It's not just a cartoon, but a real physics modeled, including the sound, which is most noticeable, as mentioned in the article. Then take a look at this. Click it on this. There's a whole bunch here. Surf around. Ran world servers, Minecraft servers, started at home, scaled up to too many people, hosted them paid for service out of New York City, hosting, and then out of Toronto, Canada. We had students in a bunch of different courses doing this, computer engineering and architecture, recruitment contests with high school students, towns built by students, and Japanese towns. And the Japanese towns actually aren't on the page here, but at the iterations of the Sports, Fitness, and Wellness Center, residential housing, all kinds of worlds, children from all over, survival and the creative worlds. My son went off and ran a faction server for a while, became a general, and did a whole thing there. That's another story. You can click on the talk and paper here. These two papers, the one was in London, England. The other one, I was a keynote speaker in Japan. And then my YouTube channel has a couple hundred videos. You can see all kinds of exciting builds and adventures there. We have virtual reality now in our lab, so you could take a click on the link there and see what's going on.